Slow living and city life seem to be at odds with each other. However, if there's one city where it's possible to fully embrace the slow living lifestyle and thrive, it must be Barcelona. Slow living is about taking a slower approach to how we live our life. The slow movement is made up of people who want to live better in a fast-paced modern world. Finding balance, looking forward to something, and simply enjoying the moment when a thing arrives. Slow living can be more difficult in a city. But after having lived in Barcelona for a few months, I found that this beautiful city has so much to offer that gently invites you to slow down and enjoy life. The pace, the weather, the beautiful architecture, the parks, the delicious food. Here are 5 things that I found make it easier to live slowly in Barcelona. Nature can be hard to come by in a city. Not so in Barcelona. The streets are lined with big trees. They provide shade from the summer heat and make the city just look so much more livable. Also, quite a few roads have these pedestrian boulevards in the middle. The most famous is definitely La Rambla, which stretches for 1.2 km, connecting Plaza de Catalunya and the Christopher Columbus Monument at Port Vale. However, this street is one of the top tourist attractions in Barcelona, so I would avoid it if you're looking to slow down. Instead, venture out to the west of the Eixample neighborhood to find quieter pedestrian boulevards where it's fun to sit on a bench, read a book, and watch the locals stroll by. And finally, the parks. There are so many charming little parks spread out all across the city. These are nice little places to catch your breath or enjoy your lunch break. The bigger parks, such as Ciutadella Park, are perfect little getaways to escape the traffic and buildings. If you're here, you wouldn't be able to tell that you're in a big city. These parks are great for a picnic, reading a book, or catching up with a friend. The Catalans take their food very seriously. Food is so much more to them than simply getting nutrients into their bodies. The average quality of the food and wine is really high. And having dinner is very much a social thing. I can only imagine how difficult it must have been for the people here during the pandemic, when everything was closed and they had to stay inside their homes for months. When I first arrived in Barcelona in May 2021, the restaurants had just reopened and the excitement and relief was palpable. The love for food and enjoying it with friends is something I really appreciate here. The slow living movement started with food after all, as an antidote to the fast food culture. The slow food movement focuses on sustainable farming, artisanal production, and using local, seasonal produce, and taking your time having dinner, connecting with family and friends. I came across a coffee shop called Slomov in the heart of Gracia. They do not only roast coffee beans in-house, but have also made the slow movement philosophy a core part of their business. Not only by stressing the importance of being intentional with how you spend your time, but also by sourcing their organic products directly from producers in Spain. And to offset the carbon footprint of the coffee itself, which comes from countries far away, they use packaging that's completely biodegradable. There's also a Barcelona slow food guide, which contains a list of over 100 restaurants and bars in town that share the slow food spirit. Good, clean, fair and local. And every Saturday morning, there's a farmers market called Mercat de la Terra, with seasonal products sold directly by local producers. But I feel that the Catalan food culture in its essence is already slow, in the sense that there's a focus on using high-quality ingredients, eating together with family or friends, and taking their time. Even the food itself invites sharing and socializing. Tapas are snacks on a small plate. You usually order a bunch of them and share them. They range from patatas bravas, croquetas, pan con tomate, la bomba, and of course jamón ibérico. Pinchos are also very popular. They are similar to tapas, but pinchos are usually spiked with a skewer or toothpick to a piece of bread. And of course, it's best washed down with a good glass of vermouth or Spanish wine.
Hold on, slow down, do it slowly. Take it up to like I was gonna do
The video, you're talking through the video.
Alright, put it back down. Put it back down. It's okay. You can actually cut it. I agree. Alright. Well, you can cut it. And now slowly take it up to your mouth.
Slow living is about taking the time to enjoy the little things, about being intentional, cherishing the moment, putting the phone away, and connecting with the people you care about. And what better way to do that than sharing a delicious meal? If you want to learn more about slow living, check out my video What is Slow Living, which I will link to up here. Let's move on with the next reason why it's easy to live slowly in Barcelona. Barcelona is quiet for a city. Now I admit this point is a bit arbitrary. If you grew up in the countryside, you probably wouldn't agree. And I'm talking about the city in general, not La Rambla and the super touristy areas around it. But I've lived in cities like Bangkok and Saigon, and the difference is night and day. These cities are just way noisier. The cars and motorbikes in those cities are much louder. And there's the honking, especially in Saigon. It really got under my skin after a while. It's different in Barcelona. I'm by no means saying you can hear a pin drop. It's a city after all. But the sound of traffic and people passing by is more like a gentle humming fan in the background. It's easy to block out without trying even. One thing that really helps me to slow down is broadening my mind, expanding my horizon, getting inspired. Art and culture nourish the soul. And this is something I really miss in a village. And Barcelona is probably one of the best places in the world to explore visual arts, spectacular architecture, theater, or musical performances. There are the popular landmarks, Gaudí's Sagrada Familia, Park Güell, the Museu Nacional d'Art de Catalunya, the Barcelona Pavilion by Mies van der Rohe. I did an entire video about that, which I will link to in the top right corner here. There's the Picasso Museum, the Museum of Contemporary Art, and I can keep going. I had the privilege of watching a performance of a view of Beethoven's sonatas as part of the Barcelona Obertura Spring Festival, held at the Liceu Conservatory Auditorium. The best part is that you don't even need to really go anywhere to be inspired in Barcelona. The city itself is arguably the most inspiring work of art. There are the narrow, curvy, labyrinth-like streets of Barri Gothic, counterbalanced by the long, straight streets in Eixample, with its strict grid pattern. Whether architecture is art is up for debate, but there are definitely buildings that invoke an emotional reaction in me. And Barcelona has a lot of them. Just walking around, I found that buildings would catch my attention. And not just the usual modernista suspects like La Pedrera or Casa Batlló, but also more plain-looking buildings. I would get pulled in by a nice sculpture or flowers and plants on a balcony. And to get the best view and see the bigger picture, there are many viewpoints to take it all in. My two favorites are Tibidabo and the Carmel bunkers. Whereas you can see the entire city from Tibidabo, the cool thing about the Carmel bunkers is that it's more in the middle, so you can see the city in any direction. It's a great place to hang out with friends, bring some wine, snacks, and unwind. If there's one thing that will immediately get me out of my head and into the present moment, it's seeing a dog. Years ago, I volunteered as a dog walker at a shelter, which was very fulfilling, because the dogs I got to walk were often the ones that wouldn't get adopted. I would love to have a dog my own one day, but to give a dog the best possible life, I need to settle down first. So in the meantime, I get my fix by seeing dogs on my dog walks. I don't know if it's my bias, like if I'm subconsciously looking for dogs without realizing it, but to me it seemed that half of Barcelona owns a dog. Every time I walked outside, I would just see so many dogs on their dog walks, especially smaller dogs like Pomeranians, Pugs and Dachshunds, but also big ones like Golden Retrievers. These are probably my favorites. It's like they're always smiling. Dogs are always living in the present moment. They don't ruminate about the past or make plans for the future. They're just excited to be outside and constantly on the lookout for food. Slow living is about living at the right pace, living a more balanced life, taking the time to do things properly and thereby enjoying them more. In that sense, dogs can really be our slow living teachers. So those are 5 things that make Barcelona a great city for slow living. I have to add a caveat though. During my time in Barcelona, I've heard quite a few horror stories from locals about how crazy tourism was before the coronavirus pandemic brought that to an abrupt halt. Tourists will definitely return to Barcelona in droves once travel restrictions are lifted. But I think that even then, it's very possible to live a slow lifestyle in Barcelona, as long as you limit the time you spend in the city center. I'm a huge proponent of slow travel. I have been location independent and lived abroad since 2013, and for most of the time I've stayed in the same place for 2 to 3 years before moving on. By staying in one place for longer, you can really get to know a place from a local point of view. And the locals tend to not live in the touristy part of town. If you come to Barcelona for just a few days, slow living is probably not your priority. But if you're there for longer and care about living more slowly, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to learn more about urban life and slowing down, check out my video Guide to Slow Living in a City, which I will link to up here. On this channel, I publish videos about slow and intentional living and minimalism. If that's something you're into, please consider subscribing. And let me know below, do you think Barcelona is a good city for slow living? Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.